I can't even say this shit on. Yeah, you gotta stop recording on this.
Hold on.
I can't even have this one leave.
Welcome back. We're doing another episode of Fuck You Money. I'm Yo. It's my partner Ty.
Simon.
Show you recognize our faces. But we also got some new faces with us today, Ty. Can you please introduce our amazing guest?
We got Rees and we got Mark. Are both y'all from Miami?
Yeah.
Yep. And you know we're in Miami because you know I love Miami. Okay, Cowboy land, baby. Love Miami. But today's show, we're gonna really touch on back to school. Once again, Fuck You Money is like really a ignorant conversation about wellness. And one of the things about wellness for me is education, right? And so wanted to just speak about back to school, right? And what does that mean individually for you all? Because I do believe that college is not for everybody, but I 1000% believe that schooling, being taught and educated, is for everybody. And how you go about doing it on your own individual journey is really what we're gonna kind of like kick off with before we start talking, nigga shit.
I mean, Rees and Mark, how were you guys in school? Like, did you see school as something that was really necessary for you, or did you feel like you learned more outside of school?
I think I learned a lot more outside of school. I think the basics, as far as like reading, writing, of course, are obviously fundamentally important. But life lessons and just I feel like I'm a student of life, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the things I learned and a lot of the key things I learned outside of school, I think is what put me in the position that I'm in versus high school, per se.
Yeah, I guess so. I think speaking with both Mark and I, we didn't really pursue the higher education route. And just kind of learning through life and experiences that brings. I mean, for me, I guess like middle school, high school, you treat that as like, I mean, education is education. You get that, teachers there, whatever, all that, but it's the kids, it's the people around you. It's like building that community with them, what opportunities arise from being around them, and hopefully other things in the future if they all continue to do things in life, and hopefully those are your peoples for a long time. That's kind of what for me is just like, that's I guess what I got from school. Just like who you meet and how you move through life with those people you meet.
Community.
Yeah. You know what? It's so crazy that you mentioned that, Reese, because I know each one of us probably know somebody that went to college after high school because their parents just told them they had to go to college, right? And recently I had like one of my best educational experiences for this program that I got accepted into at Harvard. And I tell everybody, it was like, so how was the class? I was like, bruh, it was the most impactful education experience I had. It was only for 4 days. And this coming from me, I have undergrads, I have a master's degree, I have different certifications. But what made it the most impactful learning experience because I knew why I was attending, right? And I don't think that in high school, there's any programming to say to you, hey, you're going to go to college. The people that you meet in college are more important than the actual books that you're going to buy in college. That's not to say don't go to school, don't go to class, don't do good grades. But what I'm saying to you is remember and understand that you might be in the class with the next person that's going to create the most revolutionary product that we are experiencing. And I think if people of color, brown and black people, if we're told that, be like, yo, you're going to go and this is going to be this is where you're going to go build your next level of community. That's going to be the reason why, if you drop out, you're dropping out because this community has said, we got something that's going to be bigger than school. We need to focus on that. Not because we failed out, right? Yeah. I think you told me this, or I heard you say it, or maybe I just read it somewhere, that Spike Lee was like, I went to college for the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
That's something. I went to film school because I could use the equipment for free. Like that is like to have that level of thinking and young. Like it's just not a lot of like. I'm curious on what triggered that. Who gave him that information, or did he just have like one of those internal aha moments?
Yeah, epiphany.
Yeah,
it's really interesting that you think about school as where I get the tools. Where can I get the tools for the thing that I know I want to do? Because Spike didn't go to school because he wanted to figure out where he was going in his life. He knew he was going to film. Where can I get the equipment to do the films I want to make, right?
Yeah.
And make it in school. So as you were saying, you learn more outside of school. What were some of the tools you picked up that you feel like you still apply to your life today?
Just focusing on not necessarily like, all right, so like no idea is original, right? It's not like what you're doing, it's how you're doing it, or whatever. So I apply that to a lot of the things that I do or whatever, trying to find or invent different ways of doing things or just trying to make it like inventive or just, just not out of the regular, out of the norm or whatever, to where it'll stand out more. Because like we were talking about earlier, there's so many people trying to do what we're doing or whatever. How do you make it stand out? How do you break it? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think one of the main takeaways.
Yeah, I feel that.
Tools is an interesting concept when you think about learning, right? Because when we are like now, I think about I can't detach being educated and the tools I need to be like I can't separate them anymore, right? And I don't know when that happened. I guess being an entrepreneur, and you start to realize like, dang man, I don't even got the tools to run my business. You're not even thinking about the You're not thinking about, oh, I got the education to run my business. You think about like, dang, like I need funding. That's a tool. Or I need staff members. That's a tool. Or like, dang, I need a certain level of information to be able to know, oh, I can do this or I can't do that. And it's one of those things where when I start thinking about, oh, okay, back to school is meaning that always trying to discover those new tools that can help me sharpen my skill sets, help me sharpen myself. So like I use AI like that now. Like AI is my new back to school tool. Because now, if you don't really focus on that shit, you can feel like an old man. Like you get like you're a dinosaur, right? So I'm like, that's my back to school for me. Like I'm always like, okay, boom, AI, blockchain. Let me learn this. Let me go back to school with this, kind of like educate myself so I don't feel like I'm gonna get phased out, right? Through the technology and all these different aspects of things, right?
So would you feel like this course that you're on is the AI course?
If I had to say that, if I had to say 2013, and we had to say that if 2013 you had to name the course, if 2023 is a course, I would say that this is the AI course. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it's whenever you see in the market that there's a technology that's coming into the market that scares everybody, you have to lean into it. Because it's the same thing about the Y2, the bubble, and it's like, when it turns 2000, the computer's going to shut down, and it's not going to remain frames and all these different things, but that ain't what happened, right? No. So you got to lean into it when people are afraid of it.
And that was, not to cut you off, that was based on miseducation. People weren't educated about what computers were going to do, so it created all this room for myth. I feel like AI is very similar. There's a lot of room to kind of project fear versus find ways of receiving the attitude. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was going to say, naturally, I think certain group of people think they're probably kind of where we're at, why we got to this point. But every time something like that comes, it's like we're trying to figure out how to game the system. So it's always that. It's like something new comes and you're like, how can I take advantage of this? I mean, that's where, said the tech level, crypto, now sort of AI or whatever. Like, it was like these new things pop up, and for me, that's my approach. So how can I take advantage of it? It's like even going back to like, going to like college to have the tools. It's kind of like music industry. It's like a lot of times we do some bullshit deal with a major, basically because they had the tools. And early on in your career, like even as a manager or on a publisher, working on the publisher side or A&R side, like you might take a bullshit deal or go into a bullshit situation just because you don't have the tools just yet. Like that's how you learn. It's kind of like getting in those moments where, you know, they might not be as comfortable, but it allows you to like now help guide whoever's around you in the future. And hopefully in the right way.
100%. And I'll be remiss if I didn't speak on something that Mark and Rees have been working with the same artist by the name of Denzel Curry for over a decade, right? And as a manager in this business and watching other managers, that's very rare. And so with that, I wanna ask questions like, your 10 years of working with an artist, you know, that's pretty much been a very, very loyal client to both of you all. What is something that you can go back to school with a young manager and you can say, hey, if you want to do this and you want to potentially have longevity working with one client, try to think about these things, right? What are some of those tools that you can actually give? Because even me and Brent have been working successfully for 10 years, right? Like Denzel was doing shows and doing A3C when I met them. That was in 2013. So, you know, me and Brent closer to the 10-year mark, closer to 10 than we are 5. But like, I know I have some different tools that I would give young managers, but I'm curious on what things and what ideologies or whatever you might feel that a young manager can take from your 10 plus year experience working with the same artists. How would y'all go about, like, I guess, being the tool for them to give them some knowledge?
One thing I struggled with early on, it's cool to trust your gut as a manager, but you also don't let your gut overshadow and get in the way of creativity when the artist is trying to create whatever. I'd be in the studio with Denzel early on, and you know, he wouldn't be doing it a certain way or way that I like, but you gotta let him figure it out. You know what I'm saying? It's important to let him figure it out and then edit it later. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So basically, let them work through their idea.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's such a gem because I know at least 10 managers that's been fired or the artist grew distance from them because they was too controlling over their art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like a real issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Kind of took that. Sometimes it's tough as like we're trying to be creative in that moment as well. But like I feel like we got a lot to add to it. You just got to step back and sort of let them do what they do. You know, I think I learned that early as well. Just I think before working with sales, took, you know, I feel like even Mark like going off like, bro, sometimes I can't deal with it. It's just like, we gotta be patient with them.
Yeah.
But I guess something with going from that is patience, man. Like patience is such a big thing. I mean, we've been at this was 10 years, 11, just sort of when we kind of started, but like 10 is like where we're like, all right, cool.
It's a real thing.
So, it's been 10 long years of like having a lot of patience and letting things build and letting the process work, you know.
Yeah.
And luckily, he's trusted us with that. So obviously, he's had his ups and downs. We all have, like, getting frustrated with certain things, but like allowing it to be and sort of build to where it needs to build. You know? I think we still have a lot to do with him, and he feels the same. Like he's not where he wants to be at. He feels like he can be bigger and do more things and be more impactful and all of that. So I mean, I think that helps us all sort of motivate each other.
Yeah.
But like the patience thing is big.
Man.
Especially when majors kind of just like they can come in and just throw money at something and it just goes, and you're just like the artist kind of will look at that and look at somebody else who has a quick moment. It's like, well, that's a bubble, it's gonna pop, and it's gonna go. And you know, we're working on the long game and shit. You know, so it takes patience.
I think that the patient thing is so key because it speaks towards what you're saying, but it also speaks directly towards what you're saying about yourself and the artist. I can honestly say that if I didn't have patience, Brent would have definitely fired me. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll be somewhere and you'll want to say something, but then you'd be like, you know what? Like, I learned that if I was going to give any advice to a young manager that want to be around, that want to be involved with an artist career for a very long time, especially if they turn to be successful, whatever success look like to them, is to really, really pick and choose your battles.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm sitting down and I'm educating myself about my back to school is always going to be educating myself about the ever-changing element of the human brain. So like how people digest things, how people are being raised, how social media is impacting people to be able to have shorter attention spans. So when I'm thinking about artists, I'm like, I can't read what, David Geffen did, or I can't read what, L.A. Reid did, or what Russell Simmons did, and try to, what Dame Dash did, and try to apply it to today's artists. I can get the information from a knowledge perspective on how they move around the business. But if I treat an artist like how Dame treated artists, today, oh yeah, you're like, it don't matter how great of a job you did, you made them feel bad. And their self-esteem and their confidence, and then they don't want to be around you because they're not. The humans today don't have the same level of grit like back in the day, right? And so, I know for a fact, just being like, no, it's all good. Like that's a tree I don't want to share. I'm not going to down that either, and that probably has extended my time working with this artist. Just because of that pure fact, no matter how good I am on business, whatever, just being able to say, man, just let that man do what he want to do, man. Like he figured it out, right? So it's like the same thing with studio, doing the same thing with life. You know what I'm saying?
So I don't manage an artist. I never had that interest because I felt like, to all y'all point, it's taking another person's dreams and holding on to it. Not too tightly, but guiding them, but not overstepping. I never felt like I need the equation to properly manage someone else. So I wanted to ask about development, because as you're going through this time with a person, you're obviously seeing them grow, but how do you know how to help them grow if they don't necessarily understand the business or don't understand how things are changing? Like, how do you keep somebody on the right track?
I mean, with Zoe, I mean, it's conversation, when they say with like babies, not to say Zoe's not a baby, but like when you speak to babies, like talk to them regularly instead of doing the baby voice and shit. I feel like a lot of managers do that with artists, a lot of labels do that with artists. They speak to them in baby voice, because they know that like some artists don't care as much. They care about their art, and they don't want to hear the business aspect of things. But with Zell, it's like that approach of like, I'm not doing the baby talk. I'm gonna tell you shit directly, like, and I'm gonna be very transparent, because that's just how I always roll. Like, there's probably certain things that maybe I think I've held myself back from doing business wise because of the transparency of it. Where I'm like, if I'm not transparent about it, like I can't move forward with doing certain things. Like especially the way the labels and like publishers structure things, like these old ass deals that are just dated and stupid and shit. But it's like with Zell was the same. It was like he came to us originally with when he was like wanted to do something bigger. He's not really like trying to get signed. That wasn't his like approach back like when he had 2015, 2016 when freshman happened. He was like, all right, y'all saying I gotta sign a label to do something more, fine, I'll do that. But I just know whatever y'all do, I'm keeping my masters, So it's like, all right, cool. Explain to him why like you approach to that and like why that might not be the best move for you to get what you want, you know, but at the same time listening to him and being like, all right, cool. We're gonna take that and move in that way, you know. It's like when they said when Baby did it.
Yeah.
When he just walked in the label saying the wildest shit and everybody was like, no, that's not how it works. He's I don't care. That's just how it's gonna be. And the labels were like, I guess so fine, fuck it, you know? And we did the same with Zell in that way. Like, you know, we're like, no, we ain't getting none of that. You know, and they just be like, nah, that's just how it is. We got what we wanted because we were just like, you know, pushing it. But I guess it's like that. It's like with artists, with everybody we talk to, sometimes it's not what they want to hear. We don't do the baby talk. Just try to be transparent.
It's funny you said baby talk, right? Because I can relate to that. I remember a publishing executive that I was doing some co-management stuff with basically told me to lie to the artist. Like, they don't give them all that information. I was just like, that sound like stupid. Like, they don't want to be managing somebody that's dumb. And if you managing dumbasses, they're eventually going to do some dumb shit, like fire your dumb ass. They're going to do it out of not understanding what they're doing. So I was just like, nah, I need to tell them that the person that they think want to support them didn't even like their music at the publishing company. So that they can stop talking to me about how I need to go talk to them, this person, to help them. I'm like, man, fuck that. That motherfucker don't want to sign you. And then it would be like, for real? Like, yes. So stop talking to me about that motherfucker. Talk to me about the people that are you seeing. Not the person that you like, oh my God, I can't believe that this person even wanted to sign me. No, they didn't. The person that is championing you, that's seeing you every day, that work at the company too, that's the person that wanted to sign you. And that individual just did not get in their way. They signed off on it. And they was at the event, they was at the signing. But stop talking to me about that person. And I said, and the artist is just like, wow, thank you for saying that. I didn't know. And co-manager at the time, like, why would you tell her? Like, cause that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't sit and hear you just lie, not knowing you lie, right? And pushing me to do something that I'm like, nah, it don't work like that, because that person wasn't that. That person didn't believe it.
It's not quite a lie, but you live in a fantasy.
Yes.
You're not living in reality. So I can't have you out here on clouds or be on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, especially when most artists already live in the clouds. Like that's just how they are, because it's just like a lot of artists that they're not grounded at all. So we're supposed to be that for them, you know? And like it just feels like we're just not doing them a disservice by not like trying to have that connection to the ground. Like, I'm gonna be real with you, I'm gonna tell you how it is on this side, so you know. You can choose to accept it or understand it or not. You know, that's on you, but I'm telling you how it is. And the choice is on them, as opposed to like us making the choice. You know, like how they say, don't don't add the reverb, you know, before, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like do that shit in post. Like don't record the reverb on, because it's like it's, you know, and you can't fix it later. You know, so it's like
I do know that the managers that are like very direct, very matter of fact, very straightforward, without the artists feeling like they're picking on them, do have longer relationships with the artists, with their clients. The ones that are just like shoot it straight. Because what ends up happening is when they start to get notoriety and they start to build, people don't be honest with them because they're afraid that they're gonna get something taken away, rather like not being able to be around, or they're cut off how much money they're paying you. So everybody's hesitant to be like, nah, you should do that, right? But the one person that's consistently saying it, they, whether you know it or not, they respect it. Because I know I was plenty of times that I was like, well, I'm about to get fired from that shit I just told them. And then it came back and kind of worked in my favor. But I have gotten fired for being like very direct and overprotective for the artist or whatever the case may be. But I've always said that if I lose a client because I was trying to be protective, or if I was trying to be just harsh with education, I'm cool with that. I was gonna lose no client because you said I was stealing. You know what I'm saying? Or no negative shit like that. You know what I mean? Because most artists ain't gonna be like, yeah, I fired him because he was trying to tell me what to do all the time. that was good for me. You know what I'm saying?
We saying it because we care, though.
Well,
It's coming from a place of love and understanding. You know what I'm saying? You're not just talking out your ass. Your experience, you know, like if I'm giving you this advice, it's because I care. It's not because of me thinking I know it all. Whatever, it's based off experience, and I want the best for you.
Yeah. What thoughts?
Earlier, you had mentioned how you've been managing Zell since he was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that a bit, about getting an artist so young and the type of things that you did to properly educate him on his journey.
Zell's situation was pretty cool because like he came in through this group called Ready Clan. Ready Clan was like an online group or whatever of like different members from like LA, New York, Atlanta, Miami, started by this dude, Space Ghost Perk.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So Zell kind of already had like a platform. When I met him, he had like 2,000 followers. He was getting like some early spins on UK radio with like us and Mohawk and Late Night and all that. So he had like a little footing or whatever, but he just needed like some guidance and just somebody to help organize his life. Because at the time, like I said, he was 16, still in high school. He just didn't have it quite figured out yet in terms of just organization. So he just kind of needed us to come in and help shift and there and move things around, whatever. I want to say like when around 2012, it was around 2012, right, Rees?
Yeah, when we started with like 2012.
He made the conscious decision to want to work on the album. But he was kind of just like, I don't want it to just be a mixtape, because he had already put out 3 mixtapes on that pill or whatever, and they were doing well, but he was like, like, how can I separate myself from everybody else in the underground that's doing their thing or whatever? I don't want to do lo-fi anymore. So that was one of the decisions. I don't want to do lo-fi anymore. I don't want to put the music out just on YouTube. So like we were looking at the blogs, and I had stumbled upon like SoundCloud or whatever. So we like SoundCloud because of the layout. It allowed you to do comments or whatever. You could put up the art or whatever. So it was like, all right, well, damn, how can we make the art stand out more? He draws, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, yeah, fuck it. Just draw all your artwork or whatever. We'll just get it like, printed up or whatever. Boom, boom, boom. So started drawing artwork. So now the artwork started standing out on the blogs or whatever. When they see it, it's like, damn, that's unusual or whatever, because this is his own style. So it was just like little key things like that or whatever, like switching over to SoundCloud early on back in like 2012, having him draw his art and not doing lo-fi, selling the album versus it being a mixtape. There's like little things like that help him kind of like.
I think that was a big jump, because everybody was just put stuff out for free, especially with SoundCloud. At that piff and all that going, like, so it's like, I'm gonna do an album, but I'm gonna sell it. And, it was scary for him, because he's like, I don't even understand how that happens. So we did it and it worked for him. Also really early when him was, I think he was 16 when he started using that bank account, understand how to deal with money, none of that. When he turned 18, his first attorney,
Theo Settlement.
Yeah, I don't want to say names, but all right. Theo.
Well, we say names over here. Fuck it.
Theo's very aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Theo was very aggressive.
So Theo immediately was like, I got this deal, I got that deal. Just like putting in our face, and like had to kind of slow him down and make him understand, like, you throwing money at him, so you don't even have like a bank account. Like he just had his first bank account. He doesn't understand the access to money just yet. So for you to throw that at him is only going to put him in a hole, because he's just going to dumb out. Because it's like what you do when you're that young and you come from nothing and you get your first check. And you're just like, yo, like, I'm like, Zell's probably going to buy 1,000 comic books. I don't know, like,
way before Zell. Zell way before Zell. You're going to sell all the money.
So we're like, man, slow down. Like, it ain't time yet. Like, we not even, we still working. Like, we gotta build. Like, there's a process to this. I mean, he understood it once I told him. He was just like, all right, well, I'll step back. And next year came and did the same thing. And it was like, still not time yet.
Yeah, trust me. Every Jewish lawyer gonna try to sell. I know my Jewish lawyer trying to sell me so much. I was just like, I don't even know why he worked with me anymore, because I just kept saying no to him. That's dope. You mentioned that earlier on, and I don't think a lot of artists understand the importance of this, but it's also a slippery slope. You said earlier on, Zare really trusted y'all with his finances.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and being able to know that, you all was gonna like take care of whatever needed to get taken care of, but him still be put like in a good position to have his own like, privacy or his own money or whatever the case may be. Can you walk us through you all thinking as a team on like what that strategy kind of like felt like at that time? Because you still was young too, trying to figure out money. Yeah. And like, but then you got this younger kid who's depending on you to like not mess up his money. Yeah. Like how did y'all like teamwork together and kind of like walk through those ideas?
Full disclosure, I was also working at Whole Foods, so the times where we'd be touring, I'd have to go back to work. I saw that in the book. You were working at the airport and whatnot too. So I related to that. I was like, damn, I feel that.
With me, it's like, we're learning a lot of that as we go through. I obviously came from, before working with Denzel, working on the major side, with artists. At the time I was working with Tierra Thomas, right? Yeah. And just seeing her situation and how she got signed and how it kind of fell through, and like as an artist, she's killing them right now as a writer, but like as an artist, it just didn't happen. And like everybody like looking at her like, yo, she's the next Lauryn Hill or the next whatever. Like they were doing so many things at her. I think Interscope wanted to be the next Rihanna, and it was just like that's not even her vibe, but whatever. Just seeing like how her finances were going, and like I'm like, yo, like you can't have that with a young artist. It's like just learning from that and being like, I just want to see Zell do it right. So early we made the decision, like talk to business managers when it makes sense and it's right. We would like, with his money, it was all like, he saw it all. So he'd be like, and early on, like Mark and I would do it all the time. Be like, Mark, I'm not taking nothing from this check. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather have Zell, I'd rather reinvest it in something that Zell could like, it works towards him as opposed to us having a little extra $100 or $200 in our pocket or whatever, right?
And that goes a long way.
It does. It does, especially
young
that,
managers,
that young early age. Like, I was luckily in a position where whatever, I was making enough doing things that and I was just like, all right, cool, I'm all right here. So that was like early decision with him and letting him know that like, look, this is what we got to work with. This is going to cost. This is how we move with this, and trying to build his mind to think like a business manager is going to think once he has a real business manager. It took us a while to get one, but it was only because we wanted to make sure we weren't wasting money paying a business manager when not enough was coming in. So we just structured everything out in that way. Like everything was like, we had an early situation too where, going back to that trust that is kind of probably where it clicked for him, was he was being told from by another person or whatever, but just like, this is not how this is supposed to go. You're supposed to be doing, you got these records, viral records, you're supposed to be doing club dates and this and that. And we're just like, yo, this is not that type of, like, you're not doing records at the strip club. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing the Iguanas, like the Miami clubs, like the urban clubs are like, really hit, like where Ross could pop in and get a quick 10, 15, 20 or whatever, and just pop into 2 songs and bounce. That's not, like, you're that Zell, you're not that, And off top, this was another attorney sort of trying to coach, whatever. Yeah. Put me in a corner and was like, oh, these numbers I got don't make sense. And this, how they don't make sense. Like, and I don't know how I pulled it out my ass, but I was able to remember everything and kind of just like piece it together at the moment, right? Everybody looked at me like super skeptical, but I was like, this is what it is. Y'all could go back and do the numbers. I go through your math. And everybody at the time, everybody was crazy. So went back, did the numbers. You know what I'm saying? He just like looked at everything and he's like, damn, he's right. They playing me. You know what I'm saying? Like what they're telling me is false. Yeah. What he's telling me is right. And I was just like, oh, like that's kind of when it clicked on him when he was like, I trust him. Because they could have been took shit from me at that time. And we didn't. We're just like, we didn't even take a percentage. Like the whole point was to make sure that, this was his first tour which is I think Underachievers, right?
Yeah, 2014.
So he was on tour Underachievers.
I remember that tour.
You know, the numbers on that is nothing. He making $250 a show. Like, how do you, you know, it's like, this attorney's telling him, like, you should have came back at least with $100 grand. Like, this is just wild numbers.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it is. But yeah, that's sort of what early on, like, helped him understand, like, we're setting this up in a way so you know how it moves forward. Like, luckily, Zell now is at a point where, and I hate to say this publicly, not for everybody else, but for him, because you know what I'm saying? Because he starts to think like that, where it's just like, he's good. He's good. Like, he can stop making music 100%. Right now. He's good. Like, because he's invested in a way, and because I think like we put this mindset in his mind early, was that like, bro, you don't, and he doesn't. You don't see him like he just not getting like things in that, but it's because he can't. But like early, I was like, bro, put 60% away, 70% away, as much as you can, and live off this. Learn to live off this. And he still knows how to live off this, and still kind of does. You know what I'm saying? And he's put so much away throughout his career that it's like, he's good. He's so invested, like, so, it's insane.
It's and I'm glad you said that, because it's important for artists that will see this to know, to say, oh man, I can work with the same people that I like for 10 years. And in 10 years, which is not a very long time, from 16 to 26, 27, to be good. It is very important for you to say that, because it shows artists that you're more likely to be successful once you get in a habit of working with the same people, and you start to know each other, and you follow these trails. The same thing with, like, any artist that's been successful with me on a financial side, with Brent or any other producers that he's worked with. Either I controlled their money, or they surrendered the money to me, for whatever the reason is. Brent's first publishing deal, he produced for like 8 bands in like 4 days, and was like, take the money from me. Get the money from me, because they was never supposed to send the money to him. They were supposed to send it to the business account. And whatever happened, that W-9 shit, they sent their money to him. And he was in DC at his brother's bachelor party. And I think that nigga took everybody to the strip club. I was like, yo, B, what are you doing? I'm back at Delta. Yes. I'm working this shit. And I'm like, looking in the bank, I'm like, where the money at? Man, I'm calling Karen, like, yo, they send the money? The money hadn't went to him. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker. Because they had sent me my money, because I had the LOD, right? So they sent me my money directly. But then the other money was supposed to go into the business account. Then I was going to put him on the $30,000. You know what I'm saying? But he blew through that. He blew through like 8 bands. Like, I was like, yo. He just said, hey, bro, just take the money from me, because I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. It's a lot of money. I ain't never seen this much money before in my account. And he willingly just wired the money to the business account. And from there, up until recently, that he just always just let me handle the money. It wasn't until he started realizing, hey, bro, I'm making a lot of money, and you keep telling me what I can't spend. I'm like, yeah, because we ain't going back. You know what I'm saying? We're not going back. Like, you can be mad at me. I'd rather you be mad at me for me being like, nah, we're not spending no $300,000 on music video. Then us spending $300,000 on music video, do you mad at me because we broke? I'd rather be the latter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather just like say, hey, yeah, man, you know, we can't do that. That's not in our operational budget, right? But there's something very, because I used to do the same thing. I used to put everything back in. Yeah. The Sunder business, the Brent business, wintertime. I just like never took my commission. And just to make sure that they was straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was straight. And over time, it just worked out in my favor, just like it worked out in y'all favor. You know what I'm saying? And the artist's favor. So I've never seen anybody in my experience lose when the team comes together and be like, you know what, I'm gonna keep reinvesting into this vision that we all are trying to achieve.
You guys also have a store, right? Oh, yeah. Opened up a shop 2017. Lower East Coast, same thing as a management company. It was initially just a bookshop, like just trying to bring like design books, art books, like culture shit, like just the idea of like curating something for the youth. So initially it was a bookshop, and it had like the stadium seating kind of like in the back, you know what I'm saying? So kids would just pull up, grab something, sit on, sit on the thing, like Brick Mag and shit like that, like these cool like magazines and books that like, what's the distribution like? If you don't get it, you don't order it yourself, like there's no chance for you to ever see it, because like a lot of shops and places don't have things like that. So for me, I was like, I want to open something here that just like will allow, the youth and the community to get inspiration and motivation from. Yeah. So initially it was that, and then we started to sell like clothes and stuff, and as we moved, we were in Alapata initially, and then moved to Design District. Mm-hmm. Once we moved to Design District, it just felt like a step up. They brought us in because they were like, oh, we're building out this mall or whatever with all these high-end stores, and we don't have the youth. So they're like, they gave us, obviously we can't afford being around Louis Vuitton, like all this other shit. Like, literally, we were at the time, we were right next to Pharrell's restaurant, whatever. So, and it's a Swan. And we can't afford that space. But they were like, nah, we just want y'all to bring that to the neighborhood or whatever. So we transitioned into clothes and stuff. Like, we started bringing more of the high-end shit to kind of fit in with the neighborhood. But it was like, we carried Barney-ish, stuff like that. But as a transition, like, the shop just became a place for youth and community and kids. And like, I think we've even like been able to feed off a lot of the art and stuff. Like, even connect Zell with certain people that have helped him sort of execute his vision on things, especially like young artists, like, visual artists that are doing stuff. And that's what it was. I mean, now we're in Little River. We needed a bigger space. So that's kind of what we're doing. And yeah, it's just a shop, like same as clothes and books and sneakers, like, carrying like Solomon and parts and stuff like that. Like, just trying to bring something to the city that it doesn't have. Or I say Miami's like 40-year-old version. It's like,
there ain't no versions that's 40-year-old in Miami, buddy.
But I'm saying the city.
No, I feel exactly what you mean.
Because it's like, it's a city that you look at, it's got so much culture, but it lacks in a lot of other things. It's a major city. I mean, we've grown a lot since COVID, but before that, it was a big city and it lacked so many things. I think it lacked a lot of like, artistic culture. I'm not gonna say like culture on the side of like humans or whatever, but like we're a melting pot of Hispanics and Black community. Like, ain't no white people in the city. That's why it's like you look at it like no Caucasian white. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whites are all Hispanic. Like, it's weird. It's like, I don't know what the percentage is now, but I know me growing up, it was like 13 or 14%. So like, for you to understand that, like, the city was not. We grow up different. We see it differently because we don't. The pressure you feel from like white people or whatever in other cities. You don't see it here. It's like, they're not here putting pressure on us like that. They're not here. They're the minority. So
it's interesting that you bring up the shop, because another thing about back to school for me is being able to have somewhere, brick and mortar, to go and learn. Mm-hmm. Right? You're talking about these books to learn about art, learn about design, learn about a new brand. It's a community. It makes you feel like you're not a caricature on the internet, right? Where you can actually go and see the same person that you're talking to on the email, and the internet. And I think that enhances education. Like, I think it makes education stick, right? So you read a book online versus when you can read the book at a library while you see other people reading. You're like, oh, what book they're reading, and then you can go and pick that book up. But you can't never do that if you're reading books on the internet. But if you're not reading a book in a community center or like in a bookstore, you can't see other people's ambitions.
Can't.
Cause they're like they in that motherfucker just like you are trying to figure out whatever they're trying to figure out, rather how to commit a murder and not get caught, like whatever, how to scam or how to be a nurse or whatever it is. Like you don't get to experience that when you are I call them a character. Like they don't got skill sets, people sets. It's a difference. Like we both appreciate both of y'all because we know y'all are soft spoken. Y'all don't do a lot of interviews, but y'all still a people person though. Yeah. You still know how to have dialogue. You know how to have conversations. You know how to carry conversations. You just prefer not to be bothered. You know what I'm saying? But there's individuals who don't know how to carry conversations and or relationships because they kind of really came to life doing the caricature of this part of time through social media being so heavy, and you can talk to people for years and not even meet them.
Yeah, internet, social media kept in a curse.
Yes.
I mean, I grew up, I'm 41, so, my era is the 90s, and especially in Miami, we didn't have the internet as like a main focus. Not just everybody at the time didn't have the internet as a main focus, but like, for us, it was like, how do you meet like-minded people, You went and showed up to certain things, right? It was like something like Fatlands on the beach or whatever, like 96, 97. It was like you would show up to these things and like that's how you met people. And like, what's the version of that now for the youth? And, I feel like these like, late 20s and shit, they version that's Tumblr. Now these young kids, it's TikTok. Yeah. And like it's but how do you do that in real life? And like I think that was the idea for the shop. It was like give them a place to come and be a community and like not just they stuck in their house just like clicking through shit as opposed to like being around people and learning how. So we're seeing these things that they're referencing and like using as inspiration in person, and then meeting people that like it as well that they can go back and forth on. It's not not just through the comments or whatever.
Yeah, I'm pissed, man. We should have did this shit at the shop, man. Yeah, as I'm thinking about time, we should have did this shit at the motherfucking shop.
I think the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing, man, you was speaking about, you was like, I was like, man, I don't want to fucking deal with no new artists. You was like, yeah, man, like how you even go about breaking the artist, how you even go about telling the story. And you touching on something, it just automatically hit me because I was just talking about this the other day. It's about finding the places in real life. Real life is how you break artists down. Finding ways to tell stories through cost-efficient, creative ways in real life, right? Where because all I do is think about the old school way of breaking artists. So I'm like, oh, nobody's doing those showcases where all the labels will come out and watch an artist perform. I'm gonna do that. Now I'm do this new artist. I'm gonna recreate that. I'm gonna have press and book something that's 75 people. Everybody's sweaty and turn the heat up in that bitch. Everybody getting that motherfucker. They're like, why it's so hot in here? And remake these moments when you first discover the artist for the first time, right? And then take it photo, and share that shit on the internet all over and make it seem like it was 1,000 people in that bitch, right? And I think that's the new way of standing out is like thinking about, okay, we're not going to start nothing on the internet outside of the stuff you just can't, like DSPs and that type of shit. But the real cultural marketing element, lifestyle marketing element, I think is so big and important now for a lot of those different things. Because the artists that are breaking, we were talking about Sexy Red, like her music videos, I seen the one with the scat, the scat, that shit was so hard. I was like, damn, this shit, look, who shot this? You know what I'm saying? With the VHS and they fucking driving the fucking damn Dodge Charger, whatever the shit, Scat Packs, whatever the shit is. But it made me feel like I was in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. I'm like, damn, this is what they be doing in St. Louis? She could have shot that shit in Miami. All I know. It felt like where she was from. It felt like I was getting a peek of like what they be doing in St. Louis with nobody, with no camera.
What outside looks like.
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss. I mean, I think it still happens in certain sides. There's a lot of it where you don't even know where people from anymore.
Yes.
Like when we grew up, it was like, we had that to connect to. It was like New York, LA, Atlanta. Dallas, Texas, Houston, whatever. Us, like, we had our thing, with bass music and all that, like, and it tricked later on. But like, it just, like, I miss a lot of that. It's like creating those moments of real life is definitely, I think, where it's at moving forward. Because I feel like kids they gonna miss that. It's too much internet, it's too much social media. Like,
they don't even know that they miss it because they haven't really experienced it. Yeah. So when they can come in and experience it, they're like, I remember when we first started having the first Saunders shows, right? And what made the Saunders band show different from Brent Solo is like, if anybody caught those Saunders band show, that shit was like Jodeci. Like the way, like that shit was like Jodeci. Nigga Brent used to be humping the fucking mic stand. It was some wild shit that one of the girls was like, yo, I felt like how my mom used to talk about Jodeci when I went to that Saunders show. And I was like, yeah, it was completely different than his solo show. To the point, like, one of our homegirls, she was like older, she was like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? I was like, yeah, this shit like Jodeci, this shit be sweaty, like super, super, super sweaty. And this motherfucker on the motherfucker humping the fucking stage, the band hit that, ow! It was like some real sweaty, like D'Angelo type shit. But like, that was one of those things that kids that experience that's the closest they're gonna get to Jodeci.
It's so interesting that I remember people not even knowing that Sonder and Brent Bias was like the same person. That people assumed that Sonder was something completely different. And I was wondering why. And obviously like, there was some type of disconnect, separation. But that's exciting, right? Like, you're so excited about this band, about this artist, that you want to learn more and you discover that, oh my God, I like his music too.
Yeah. It was on purpose.
Well, it felt intentional.
Yeah, it was on purpose. It was on purpose.
No one's that mysterious without a little purpose.
Right. But the that's another part. Like, and I want to end this on what we started it as, like, back to school. When you want to break as a new artist, you got to go back to school because school teaches you the history, right? Education teaches you the history because that's how we learn and figure out, can I take something from the history, apply it to the past? Because like you said, no idea is new. History repeats itself. How can we take what has already happened and reinvent it and break through? I mean,
don't be afraid of history. Like, don't be afraid of history.
Can't be afraid of history. Yeah. So that's and that is like a very, very great point to end on. Rees, I appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you.
Mark, I appreciate you for coming, man. And that's all. A ninth episode.
Episode 9.
Yeah. Episode 9. Fuck you, money. And season 2. So,
thank you guys again. I hope you can come to the shop. I get some books in the shop too, man. You got the books. Yes.
Yeah, you gotta load up, man. I just ordered 1,000. You put that order in yet? Ordered 1,000 for the stuff. It's in the trunk.
We're gonna drop $100. All right,
yeah, got the motherfucker up in East Point, at the trap house in East Point. You know what I'm saying? Our trap house different now. It's all clean money. No money's dirty. This is all clean money. I was talking to Gilly about that earlier. It's all clean money. This money is what we call it is STD free. This money is not dirty. Well, for real, man, I appreciate y'all, brother.